You have been homeless 34 years.
Yes.
People for food and stuff and just sleep your life away.
Risk getting a ticket just trying to eat.
If there's one place in America where the American dream is cracking wide open, it's Texas. You don't have to imagine it. You can see it with your own eyes. Homeless camps stretching for blocks. People begging just to eat. One man said he's been on the streets for 34 years. That's not a statistic. It's a life slipping away in plain sight. Texas was once a symbol of hope, a land of freedom, wide open skies, oil-fueled riches, and second chances. Millions flocked here to chase a dream that seemed built to last. But now, that dream is starting to fade. Texas is no longer just a land of promise. It's become a final stop for many before their lives spiral out of control. This isn't just about homelessness. It's a warning, a wake-up call about how fast a stable life can fall apart. Even in a booming state like Texas, people are disappearing into the shadows of the very cities they helped build. In this documentary, we're stepping into two completely different Texases. One bursting with tech money, fancy dinners, and booming skylines. The other struggling to survive in silence, hidden in alleys and under overpasses. This isn't a story told to bring despair. It's built on truth, on real people, real pain, and real numbers that paint a picture the headlines often ignore. It's the side of Texas you're not supposed to see, but we're going to show it to you anyway. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, Texas was the place to be. Blue-collar families moved in from across the country, especially the Rust Belt, hoping for better wages, milder weather, and a place to start over. Cities like Dallas, Houston, and Austin grew fast, offering jobs, cheap homes, and a fresh start. People bought modest houses, raised kids, and believed in building a future. Not with luxury, but with hard work and dignity. But that dream, it's wearing thin. Rents that used to be predictable are now shooting through the roof. Homes that cost $150,000 a decade ago are now going for over $400,000. That same apartment you could rent for $800 in 2015, now it's $1,700 or more. And behind these price hikes are heartbreaking stories. Retirees selling their homes to pay medical bills, working families moving into motels, single parents juggling 2 jobs just to stay afloat. And still, they can't afford the neighborhoods they once called home. Look at San Antonio. It used to be known for its low cost of living. Now, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the nation for housing costs. In Austin, rents have skyrocketed by 98% over the last decade. In Corpus Christi, a 67-year-old former steelworker now sleeps in his truck behind a gas station. He told us, "I worked 40 years. I was supposed to have a porch, a garden. Not this. I'm not living. I'm just existing." Texas hasn't lost its heart, but the road to its promises, it's being rerouted. And the people who helped build this state, too many are being left behind. The American dream that once thrived here is fading fast. Drive through Austin today, and you might see a tech CEO zipping downtown on a scooter, while just steps away, tense line the freeway. In Houston, couples dine in sleek, glowing restaurants, while only a few streets over, a mother and child try to stay warm in the back of a parked minivan. Over 27,000 Texans are now homeless, and experts say the real number is even higher because many are the hidden homeless. They're crashing on couches, staying in motels, or living out of their cars with nowhere else to turn. One woman said, "I risked getting a ticket just trying to eat. I was scared. I feared for my life." This isn't about laziness. Many of the people in crisis today have jobs. Some work too. They show up every day as grocery clerks, delivery drivers, security guards, and hospital aides. But their paychecks just don't stretch far enough anymore. In Austin, a basic one-bedroom apartment now averages over $1,750 a month. Even with a job paying $18 an hour, rent alone eats up more than half your paycheck, leaving almost nothing for food, gas, or health care. Take the hospital custodian in Houston. She works full-time but sleeps in her van. Why? Her rent went up after her lease ended. She didn't have a co-signer. Her credit was damaged from past medical bills. Every apartment application rejected. This is becoming normal. Way too normal. Meanwhile, cities are cracking down. They passed new rules to clean up the streets, removing tents, tossing out people's belongings. But where are they supposed to go? There's no shelter, no housing, just more pavement, more fear, and more people slipping further away from safety. And all of this is happening in Texas, a place that prides itself on growth, resilience, and freedom. But what happens when the very people keeping the state running, the service workers, caretakers, food staff, can't even afford to live here? A second Texas is rising, a hidden one. It's everywhere, but most people don't want to look. And unless something changes, this hidden Texas could become the reality for many more people. They call Austin the new Silicon Hills, a trendy tech hub where startups boom, scooters zip around downtown, and cafes overflow with espresso and young professionals. It sounds like a dream until you stop looking up at the towers and start looking down. Just beneath the overpasses, behind shopping centers, another version of Austin is growing. You won't find this one in the travel brochures. In places like Riverside, under the I-35 corridor, and along Ben White Boulevard, tent cities are rising fast. Built from tarps, scraps, and shopping carts, these makeshift homes are all some people have left after falling through the cracks of society. A war hero sleeps under a freeway in Austin. He served 2 tours overseas. Now, his battle is just to stay warm at night. I didn't come back from war to fight this kind of battle, he says. He's not alone. As of late 2024, nearly 5,000 people in Austin are homeless, almost double what it was just 5 years ago. Some sleep in cars parked outside 24-hour gyms. Others find shelter behind churches or near food pantries. Always moving, always invisible. Austin built its brand on kindness and creativity. But today, it enforces one of the strictest camping bans in Texas. Right before tech festivals or music events, the city clears out tent sites. They remove the people, but rarely offer anywhere else to go. Millions are poured into event marketing, tech incentives, and downtown beautification projects. Meanwhile, affordable housing gets stuck in paperwork. The shelters are full, the waiting lists are long, and every day, someone else gets priced out. A janitor, a line cook, a retired teacher. Austin is now 2 cities. One lives in rooftop apartments with skyline views. The other sleeps in the shadows of those buildings, wondering how it all slipped away. Because if the beauty of Austin is built only on what's curated, while pain is erased or hidden, then is it still paradise? Or is it a polished illusion, teetering on the edge of collapse? In Texas, you can work full-time. You can skip vacations, cook every meal at home, avoid debt, and still fall short at the end of the month. That's not bad budgeting. That's a system failure. Texas was once the dream. Land was cheap, jobs were steady, and families could stretch a modest paycheck into a full life. But that version of Texas is disappearing. A 1-bedroom apartment in Dallas now averages over $1,800 a month, up 90% in 10 years. In Austin, it's often $2,100 or more. Even couples with 2 incomes are getting pushed to the edge. Meanwhile, the median wage in Texas still hovers around $48,000 a year. It sounds decent until you subtract rent, insurance, groceries, gas, and utilities. What's left? Not enough. A single mom in San Antonio works 55 hours a week. Grocery clerk by day, waitress by night. I used to buy snack for my kids, she says. Now I count every gallon of milk. In cities like Fort Worth and El Paso, eviction notices pile up. Families pack overnight, not because they lost a job, but because rent jumped $400 with no warning. There are no rent control laws in Texas. No caps, no requirement for fair notice. Investors buy entire buildings, renovate, and re-rent, pricing out the original tenants. Housing becomes a profit engine for a few, and a survival crisis for everyone else. Texas has chosen growth over regulation. But that freedom comes at a cost. And if you think you've escaped the wave because your rent hasn't doubled, ask yourself, will your children be able to afford rent when they graduate? Can a single mom ever afford a deposit in Dallas? This isn't just inflation. This is the breaking point, where effort no longer guarantees stability, where working hard doesn't mean sleeping indoors. And if that promise is gone, what's left of the American dream? Texas is proud of its barbecue, its big portions, its hospitality. Sharing a meal is part of the culture. But today, those meals are disappearing, not just from menus, but from tables. In Houston, Dallas, Lubbock, long lines form outside food banks, church pantries, and mobile distributions. People wait silently. They don't speak. They just hold a box and hope it's not too late. A retired school bus driver in Fort Worth arrives at 5 a.m. every Tuesday. If I don't get there early, he says, I might not eat that day. This isn't rare. Over 4 million Texans now face food insecurity. That's 1 in 5 children, thousands of seniors, and countless working adults choosing between groceries or medicine. And it's not because there isn't enough food. Texas feeds the nation. Its ranches stretch for miles. Its farms fill the trucks that supply America. But those who plant it, pack it, and deliver it are going hungry. Prices for eggs, milk, and rice have jumped faster than wages. At the same time, food assistance programs are cut, delayed, or underfunded. Food banks are overwhelmed, forced to ration portions or turn people away, where incentives flow toward investors. Food programs wait for budget reviews. The streets are clean, but the hunger is hidden. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. The workers with no home. They wake up early. They show up on time. They wear uniforms, follow rules, and go the extra mile. They're servers, cashiers, warehouse staff, home health aides. The workers who keep Texas running. But when their shifts end, they don't go home because they no longer have one. In parking lots across Texas, more cars have fogged up windows and towels pinned inside. Not for travel, but for shelter. A delivery driver in Houston sleeps behind a gym. I work 5-6 days a week, he says. But after rent went up again, I had no choice but to move into my car. In Austin, a minimum wage worker would need to clock over 90 hours a week to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And that doesn't include food, gas, or medicine. Even those making more. Cleaners, baristas, daycare workers. They spend over 60% of their income on rent. This is the cost of a system where shelter is treated like a luxury instead of a right. We've raised fences high enough so we don't have to look down. But the truth is still there. Under the bridges, in the parking lots, behind the grocery stores. Texas is breaking, not because its people failed, but because the system did. And the question that lingers is this. If working hard no longer means you get to live with dignity, then what kind of society are we becoming? When rent goes up or hours get cut, people have no safety net. This isn't about not working hard. It's about the huge gap between wages and what it costs to live. For freelancers and hourly workers, that gap is even worse. Without steady contracts or good credit, renting a home becomes almost impossible. Many landlords demand big deposits, high credit scores, or several co-signers. That leaves many workers earning steady paychecks, but living without stable housing. Shelters in cities like Dallas and El Paso are full almost every night. Some families get turned away because there's simply no room. Others choose to sleep in their cars rather than be separated. Across Texas, more workers are stuck in a constant state of moving, not because they failed, but because the system hasn't kept up with how people live and work today. Texas prides itself on hard work and independence. But what happens when working hard no longer guarantees a place to sleep? What happens when you're doing everything right but still falling behind? This isn't just about housing. It's a bigger question about whether work still offers a path forward. When rent eats up most of your paycheck, grocery bills climb faster than wages, and a full-time job still means sleeping in your car, there's only one thing left to hold on to: help. But even that is slipping away in Texas. Thousands rely on housing vouchers, food aid, Medicaid, and utility help. not for comfort, but just to survive. In recent years, there have been plans to cut spending on these key programs at state and federal levels. The reasons sound practical: budget control, resource management, or encouraging independence. But for many Texans, it feels like the ground is shifting under their feet. Texas doesn't collect a personal income tax, a policy often praised for helping business. But the cost is clear. The state depends a lot on sales and property taxes, which change with the economy. When times get tough, social programs are the first to face cuts. Nonprofits, shelters, and food banks that fill in the gaps are stretched to the limit. Volunteers are exhausted. Funding is uncertain, and more people need help every day. There is quiet dignity in asking for just enough to keep steady. But when that help is late, smaller, or denied, the fall gets harder, and climbing back seems impossible. Texas values strength, but true strength is knowing when to offer a hand. A society isn't measured by how it rewards success. It's measured by how it treats those who are struggling. The real question isn't if support should exist, but if it can arrive before the fall gets too steep. If the systems we trust begin to fade, what happens to the people who can't catch themselves? Texas has stood for opportunity for decades. But today, that promise feels fragile. In city after city, tents line highways. Families sleep in cars outside 24-hour stores. Grocery lists shrink to the bare essentials. Homelessness used to seem rare, but now it's widespread. This isn't just individuals struggling. It's whole communities living on the edge. More Texans are leaving, not because they want to, but because they can't afford to stay. Young professionals move to small towns or out of state. Middle-class families shrink their homes not by choice, but out of need. Seniors give up lifelong homes to pay rising medical bills. This is no short-term problem. It's a shift that challenges Texas's old story. Texas wasn't just open roads and big skies. It was hard work leading to a better life. But what happens when hard work no longer means a steady home? When housing becomes a luxury? When safety nets fray and even those who give everything get left behind? Texas still has sunlight and space, but those things mean little if the people who built this state can't live here anymore. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. A future is still possible, but only if it includes everyone. Texas doesn't need to lose what made it strong, but if it wants to stay strong, it can't leave its people behind. The question remains, will Texas stay a land of opportunity, or just a place people remember? Texas didn't collapse overnight. It didn't fall from one storm or sudden disaster. Instead, it has worn down quietly, through overlooked policies, rising costs left unchecked, and voices lost from public talks. Rising rents, empty fridges, long hours without a home. These aren't random problems. They show a system slowly falling apart. We didn't make this video to give easy answers because there aren't any. But if you felt something, sadness, frustration, or doubt, then that's a start. Change begins when we see what's really happening. What do you think about the crisis in Texas? Share your thoughts below. We want to hear your views. If this video mattered to you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. This video is made to raise awareness and encourage open discussion based on public data, verified reports, and real experiences. We are not connected to any political group or government agency. Our goal is to inspire thoughtful conversation and help people better understand the challenges many Americans face today.